8 rare traits of people who thrive in solitude, according to psychology. Individuals who find genuine joy in solitude often exhibit 8 distinctive characteristics, as highlighted by psychological research. These traits include emotional self-regulation, creativity, and a profound sense of autonomy, qualities that set them apart from the crowd. If you've ever felt a bit out of place for truly enjoying your own company, rest assured, you're not alone, ironically. In a society that frequently glorifies constant connectivity, social gatherings, and being perpetually available, opting for solitude can sometimes make you feel like an outsider. However, here's the reality. Desiring time alone doesn't imply that you're antisocial, flawed, or missing out on life. It often signifies a higher level of self-awareness than many possess. I often find myself spending early mornings running along serene trails or tending to my garden. And through these experiences, I've come to understand that solitude is not merely the absence of life. Rather, it's a means of perceiving it more clearly. Those who are comfortable in their own company frequently possess remarkable psychological strengths. Below, I outline 8 traits that I have consistently observed in individuals who thrive in solitude, myself included, along with insights from research and suggestions on how to nurture each trait. 1. Self-anchoring. Do you have a clear understanding of your values, even amidst the noise of the crowd? People who appreciate solitude typically possess a robust internal compass. They don't rely on groups to dictate what's considered cool or worthwhile. Instead, they consult their own standards. Does this resonate with my values? Does it contribute positively to my life? For instance, when I transitioned from a stable finance career to pursue writing full-time, I didn't receive universal acclaim. Yet that quiet, unwavering affirmation from within, that's what self-anchoring is all about. It's the quality that prevents you from outsourcing your decisions to the nearest opinion. Try this. When you feel the urge to consult 5 friends, create a 1-sentence decision rule instead. I will say yes if it enhances my health, relationships, or meaningful work. Notice how many decisions become clearer when you apply your rule first. 2. Autonomy over attention. Research indicates that time spent alone is restorative when it's a choice rather than a mandate. In essence, it's not merely being alone that is beneficial. It's the feeling of being in control of your own direction. When you determine how to focus your attention, whether it's journaling, cooking, or taking a walk without distractions, your nervous system relaxes and your mood stabilizes. As noted by Nguyen, Ryan, and Deci, solitude can alleviate stress and foster tranquility when it's a voluntary choice. If you cherish your alone time, you likely safeguard that autonomy. You might silence your phone notifications or designate specific times for uninterrupted thought. Try this. Schedule a daily attention appointment for 10 to 30 minutes, free from any external inputs. The aim isn't productivity. It's about reclaiming your agency. 3. Deep focus capacity. Some individuals view their alone time as merely a waiting period. In contrast, those who value solitude treat it as a workshop. They can immerse themselves in deep focus, whether it's writing, designing, fixing a bike, or learning a new chord, because their attention isn't constantly diverted. Focus is a skill that can be developed, not just a personality trait. However, those who enjoy solitude tend to practice it more frequently. And this practice accumulates over time. Eventually, they experience more of those moments where they lose track of time, transforming challenging projects from 80% complete to fully finished. Try this. Before you begin, define what "done for now" means in a single sentence. Then, set a timer for 40 to 50 minutes. Stand up when the timer goes off. This simple rhythm trains your brain to approach solitude with intention rather than drifting aimlessly. 4. Emotional self-regulation. Have you ever noticed how a solitary walk can help clear a cluttered mood? Many individuals who love solitude excel at managing their emotions. They utilize their alone time to process, organize, and settle their feelings without relying on someone else to resolve them. This isn't about avoiding emotions. It's about taking responsibility for them. They acknowledge their feelings. I'm feeling irritated and tired. Engage in small rituals to calm themselves, like enjoying tea, stretching, or reading a few pages, and return to their social circles feeling steadier and kinder. Try this. Develop a 3-step reset routine. For example, mine consists of stepping outside for fresh air, taking 10 slow breaths, and writing a single sentence about what's bothering me. The goal isn't perfection. It's about establishing a pattern. 5. Selective sociability. Here's a thought-provoking question. Do you prefer fewer, deeper connections rather than constant social interaction? Those who cherish solitude are often discerning about their relationships. They don't require a packed calendar to feel fulfilled. They find satisfaction in quality over quantity. Psychologists have even coined a term for the discomfort experienced when one lacks sufficient alone time. Aloneliness, the unsettling feeling that your solitude tank is running low. Research led by Robert Copeland and colleagues sheds light on why some individuals feel off when they haven't had enough time to themselves. In other words, you might not be irritable. You might simply be under-soloed. Try this. When your schedule becomes crowded, carve out a no-plans night and protect it as you would any other commitment. Inform your friends. Thursday is my recharge night. How about Friday? 6. Firm yet friendly. Boundaries. Enjoying your own company often means you've mastered the art of saying no without lengthy apologies. You can turn down extra meetings, last-minute favors, or that just one drink that could easily turn into 3. Not because you're antisocial, but because you view your energy as a finite resource. Boundaries don't have to be rigid. Those I coach who thrive in solitude use warm, concise language. I'm not available tonight, but I'd love to catch up on Sunday afternoon. Clear, kind, and to the point. Try this. Write down 2 or 3 polite declines in your notes app so you're prepared and won't have to think on your feet under pressure. 7. Comfort with subtle signals. Individuals who thrive in solitude are adept at tuning into signals that are often quiet, like gut feelings, physical sensations, and faint curiosities. They notice the slight uplift in their spirits when they read about a new trail or class, or the heaviness that follows a particular conversation. They regard these subtle cues as valid information rather than mere noise. In my previous role as an analyst, I relied more on spreadsheets than on my instincts. Now, I strive to balance both. Quiet data is still data, and solitude makes it easier to listen. Try this. At the end of each day, jot down 2 bullet points, plus what energized me, and minus what drained my energy. After 2 weeks, look for patterns and make one small adjustment. 8. Creativity that flourishes in peace. As Susan Cain aptly stated, solitude is a catalyst for innovation. I've personally found this to be true in my work. The most brilliant ideas seldom emerge during chaotic brainstorming sessions. They often come to me while I'm pruning tomato plants or jogging, when my mind finally has the space to breathe. Cain popularized the notion that stepping away from the group can unlock new perspectives, particularly for those of us who excel in tranquil environments. Creativity requires both stimulation and emptiness. Those who appreciate solitude safeguard that emptiness, allowing nascent ideas to develop without interruption. Try this. After consuming something inspiring, like a talk, a chapter, or a gallery visit, schedule some blank space for yourself. No meetings, just a notebook and a walk. See what ideas emerge. Putting it all together. If you recognize yourself in these traits, you're not peculiar. You're onto something significant. Psychology continually reminds us that chosen solitude is not a dilemma to be resolved. It's a valuable resource to be utilized. When your alone time is autonomous, you chose it, intentional, you know how you'll spend it, and respected by yourself and others, it transforms into a form of quiet superpower. Here are a few practical ways to honor that. Schedule your recharge time like a meeting. Add it to your calendar with a verb. Read, walk, tinker, stretch, to make it easy to start. Create micro rituals. Use the same mug for tea. Sit in a chair by the window, or write a 5-minute closeout. Note at the end of the day. Communicate your preferences. Let others know, I thrive in one-on-one settings. I need advance notice for group plans, or mornings are my quiet time. Balance what you take in with what you put out. If you consume a lot, podcasts, articles, news, pair it with creating, notes, sketches, lists. Output reinforces learning and calms the mind. Final thought. You don't owe anyone an explanation for wanting time alone. You're simply utilizing a scientifically validated tool to regulate your emotions, reflect, and foster creativity. Protect that time, savor it, and allow it to enhance your company, both for yourself and for those around you. What's your plant-powered archetype? Have you ever pondered what your daily habits reveal about your deeper purpose and how they ripple out to affect the planet? This quick 90-second quiz uncovers the plant-powered role you're meant to play, along with a small shift that can amplify its impact. 12 engaging questions. Instant results. Surprisingly accurate. The power of introversion. Unlocking your hidden superpowers. Imagine being told that your preference for solitude is not a weakness, but a superpower. According to psychology, being an introvert can mean you possess enhanced focus, creativity, and emotional intelligence. But here's where it gets interesting. Research suggests that introverted individuals who prefer to spend time alone may be more cognitively or emotionally advanced than their extroverted counterparts. This may come as a surprise to many, but the science is clear. Solitude can be a catalyst for personal growth, self-awareness, and innovation. So if you're someone who would rather spend most of your time alone, you might be wondering what this means for you. The answer lies in the unique strengths that psychologists associate with introverted individuals. One of the key advantages of being an introvert is self-awareness. When you regularly take time for yourself, you're able to tune into your values, motivations, and boundaries more clearly. Without the constant influence of social expectations, you can reflect on your experiences and beliefs without interference. This introspection leads to a firmer sense of who you are, which helps you stay grounded, even when life throws up surprises or pressures from peers. As the renowned psychologist Carl Jung once said, your visions will become clear only when you can look into your own heart. Who looks outside dreams. Who looks inside awakes. Well, here's the part most people miss. This self-awareness is not just a byproduct of solitude, but a deliberate choice to prioritize your own personal growth. Another significant benefit of being an introvert is creative thought. History is full of writers, artists, and inventors who sought out solitude to let their ideas flourish. Psychological research supports this tradition, showing that people who spend more time alone report higher originality and imaginative thinking. For example, an Indonesian study found that introverted students excelled at creative approaches to math problems, requiring flexibility and novel thinking. Neuroscientists say that when we're free from outside distractions, our brains can wander, connect distant ideas, and generate those sudden flashes of insight that are the building blocks of creativity. But what does this mean for introverts in the real world? It means that they have a unique ability to think outside the box and come up with innovative solutions to complex problems. independence, and decision-making are also key strengths associated with introverted individuals. Preferring your own company is often a sign that you're guided by an internal compass rather than the sway of group opinion. In psychological terms, this is linked to autonomy, acting according to one's own values and interests instead of simply following the crowd. People comfortable with solitude tend to make decisions based on what truly matters to them, which can lead to healthier boundaries in work and relationships. They're also less likely to be motivated by short-term praise or social validation, instead finding satisfaction in projects with lasting personal meaning. But here's the controversy. Does this mean that introverts are more selfish or less concerned with the needs of others? Not necessarily. In fact, research suggests that introverts are just as empathetic and caring as extroverts, but they may express it in different ways. Managing emotions is another area where introverts excel. Solitude can actually help people become better at handling difficult feelings like stress or anxiety. In controlled studies, adults who spent time quietly reflecting on their thoughts felt calmer afterwards compared to those less used to being alone. Instead of relying on others for distraction or venting frustrations externally, these individuals learn to process emotions internally through meditation, journaling, or mindful reflection. This practice builds emotional vocabulary and helps them remain steady during conflict or uncertainty. But what about the common criticism that introverts are too introverted, too shy, or too aloof? Is this really a fair assessment, or is it just a misconception? Superior focus is another significant advantage of being an introvert. Getting deeply absorbed in challenging work, what experts call deep work, is easier when distractions are kept at bay. People who value solitude are more likely to protect their concentration by limiting interruptions from messages or background chatter. They structure their routines around quiet periods, ideal for skill building or problem solving. This habit enables them to achieve high levels of expertise over time because they can practice deliberately without frequent breaks in attention. But here's the challenge. In a world that's increasingly fast-paced and distracting, how can introverts maintain their focus and avoid burnout? Finally, meaningful relationships are not necessarily compromised by a preference for solitude. Those inclined towards solitude usually form close bonds with a select few rather than spreading themselves thin across dozens of acquaintances. Rather than being unfriendly or aloof, this approach reflects thoughtful investment in relationships where mutual trust and genuine support matter most. When they do spend time with others, they tend to listen carefully and remember important details, qualities that foster deep connections rather than superficial contact. But what about the common misconception that introverts are antisocial or loners? Is this really a fair assessment, or is it just a stereotype? So, what do you think? Do you identify as an introvert? And if so, do you feel like you possess these unique strengths? Or do you think that being an extrovert has its own set of advantages? Let us know in the comments below. The conversation is just getting started, and we want to hear from you. Do you think that solitude is a superpower, or is it just a preference? Share your thoughts, and let's explore this topic further. Psychology reveals why introverts who prefer being alone are actually more advanced. Imagine being told that your preference for solitude might actually be a sign of advanced cognitive and emotional capabilities. It's a notion that challenges common stereotypes and opens up a fascinating discussion about the nature of introversion. Let's dive into what psychology has to say about why some people thrive in solitude. Research into the habits and preferences of individuals who lean towards solitude has uncovered some intriguing insights. Scientists and psychologists have delved into the minds of introverts, exploring how their traits and behaviors differ from those of extroverts. If you're someone who often finds yourself labeled as antisocial or a loner, there are several scientifically backed benefits you might possess. Here are some key strengths that psychologists attribute to those who prefer spending time alone. Chapter 1. Self-awareness. People who regularly take time for themselves often develop a deeper understanding of their values, motivations, and boundaries. Unlike those who are constantly surrounded by others, individuals who enjoy solitude have the opportunity to reflect on their experiences and beliefs without external influences. During the COVID-19 lockdowns, studies showed that intentional isolation provided participants with the space to challenge old assumptions and cultivate self-compassion. Over time, this introspection leads to a stronger sense of self, known as self-concept clarity, which helps them remain grounded even in the face of life's surprises or peer pressure. As the renowned psychologist Carl Jung once said, "Your visions will become clear only when you can look into your own heart. Who looks outside dreams. Who looks inside awakes." Creative thought. Throughout history, many of the world's greatest writers, artists, and inventors have found inspiration in solitude. Psychological research supports this tradition, showing that individuals who spend more time alone exhibit enhanced originality and imaginative reasoning. A study conducted in Indonesia compared introverted and extroverted students solving mathematical problems and found that introverts excelled at innovative approaches requiring adaptability and fresh thinking. Brain scientists explain that when we are free from external interruptions, our minds can wander, connecting disparate ideas and generating spontaneous moments of insight, the building blocks of creativity. Independence and decision-making. Choosing to spend time alone often indicates a strong inner moral compass, guiding decisions based on personal principles rather than succumbing to group pressure. This trait, known as autonomy, allows individuals to act according to their own interests and values. Those comfortable with solitude tend to make choices that resonate deeply with them, leading to stronger boundaries in both professional and personal relationships. They are less likely to seek immediate approval or social validation, finding fulfillment in pursuits with lasting personal significance. Managing emotions. Solitude can actually help individuals manage difficult emotions like stress and anxiety more effectively. Controlled studies have shown that adults who spend time quietly reflecting on their thoughts feel calmer afterward compared to those who are less accustomed to being alone. Instead of relying on others for distraction or venting frustrations externally, these individuals learn to process emotions internally through practices like meditation, journaling, or mindful reflection. This builds a rich emotional vocabulary and helps them remain composed during conflicts or uncertain times. Superior focus, achieving deep concentration in challenging tasks, what experts call deep work, is easier when distractions are minimized. People who value solitude are more likely to protect their focus by avoiding interruptions from messages or background noise. They structure their routines around quiet periods, creating ideal conditions for skill building and problem solving. This habit enables them to develop high levels of expertise over time, as they can practice deliberately without frequent breaks in attention. Meaningful relationships. Those who lean towards solitude often form deep, meaningful connections with a select few rather than maintaining a wide network of acquaintances. This approach reflects a thoughtful investment in relationships where mutual trust and genuine support are paramount. When they do socialize, they tend to listen attentively and remember significant details, fostering profound and lasting relationships rather than superficial interactions. But here's where it gets controversial. While the benefits of solitude are clear, Some argue that too much isolation can lead to social disconnection and even mental health issues. What do you think? Is there a balance to be struck between enjoying solitude and maintaining social connections? Share your thoughts in the comments below.